This video is brought to you by Mack Weldon Clothing. You can get some, it's an option that's available to you. I just want to clarify up top that this list of Avengers Infinity War deleted scenes, it's not just going to be them playing in a row. Yes, they will be here, but I'm going to be talking over the top of them for a bit with some additional information.
Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
But if you just want a flat out list, I've linked it here. Please feel free to check it out. With my blessing. For everyone who's still here, stick around because I'm going to talk about some of the other things that were cut. Nothing that I covered in my previous video, but new things. New things that weren't in the movie that were cut, that were deemed too unimportant to even be filmed, put into the movie, and then removed because they were too unimportant. Does any of that make sense? Probably not. Okay, let's go. Right, so this first deleted scene was to occur very early in the film. As in, it was within the Pepper Potts Tony Stark conversation about having a kid. So what we got here is Happy Hogan rolling up, and he's in a bit of a bother. Being head of Stark security somehow, despite being wildly incompetent, he's got it in his head that he wants them to hurry up and tie the knot quickly, because keeping the paparazzi off their tail has been a total nightmare. This is far from a terrible scene, but I do see why it was cut. It is though a nice little cameo from a character that existed since the first Iron Man film, played by the director of the first Iron Man film, but it doesn't really add anything of substance to the final movie.
I see you, Bert! Hold on. Bert, you son of a bitch. Come here, Bert! Come here!
Man, we gotta get him a girlfriend. You know anyone? Anyone come to mind?
I mean, the runtime of this is already 2 hours and 40 minutes. If it was a second longer, that's when people in cinemas start to pee their pants. Avatar comes in at 2:42. People were wetting their pants left, right, and center during that film. Then they'd go home, change, and then come back later for another session to catch the ending, only to have it happen all over again. You see, the dual tickets, that's how that movie made so much money. I mean, there's no other logical explanation because it's not very good. Right, here's something I don't have footage for, but it's worth a mention. Maybe it isn't. You can decide. You know how Thor goes to Big Peter Dinklage to get his new hammer? Well, before it ended up being Etri the Dwarf, one of the options looked at was the inclusion of a big old dragon. Now, I understand why it was removed. When you think the dink, there's no getting that out of your head. Also, Thor beheaded a dragon in a previous movie, and maybe that was the last known dragon in the MCU. Wait a minute, there is one in Iron Fist. I mean, we never actually see it because Danny Rand is either a lunatic or a liar. He talks so much about fighting this dragon, but you never see the dragon. What is going on? This moment here, this slots right into the fight/chase between Vision, Scarlet Witch, Proxima Midnight, and Corvus Glaive. They're married, by the way. Did you know that? I didn't know that, but I bet the ceremony was real scary. There's not really much to this. They kind of lose sight of the Vision, so there's a bit of a search going on to figure out where he's at. It's a bit of a tense moment between action beats, and I quite like it. I do, however, understand why it had to be cut. The CGI here is noticeably worse than other moments in the film. It's weird that they thought that this would be acceptable at all. I mean, I'm looking at this on a computer screen, but imagine seeing this on a bigger screen, like a movie theater picture screen. That's borderline unwatchable. Also, this scene would have taken the movie over the 240 pee your pants mark, so that's probably also why it was not in it. At the culmination of this scene, though, we get the introduction of Steve Rogers. He's got a beard now, and an attitude that says, I've got a beard now. Initially, the Russos wanted to bring him in much later, kind of hold off on the reveal until the very last moment. But it turned out that he had to go in here, so he did. Here he is. It's Steve Rogers, Captain America, you know him. He's got a beard now, he's got a beard attitude. But speaking of Steve Rogers, you probably noticed that there's no Steve Rogers Tony Stark reunion in the film. They haven't been in the same room together since they punched each other till they were bruised and sad. There was though at one point the idea that they would reunite at Avengers HQ, but it didn't really work as it complicated a fairly straightforward scene, that is the Avengers coming back together to stop a larger looming threat. Also, I'd imagine it would have been a bit much on top of everything else that's happening here. You got Bruce Banner and Natasha Romanoff coming back together, a man with electronic legs, a stabbed robot. Plus you got an angry hologram threatening to arrest everyone. It's a weird dynamic as is. Let's talk about Thanos though, because initially there was much more Thanos than is in the movie, even though it turns out that there's still a lot of Thanos regardless. At one point, the Russos though, they had him narrating most of the movie. They also planned to visit more of his backstory, presumably the death of his planet, then him going world to world, killing half of everyone, right up to the present day. This movie was also going to initially introduce him by showing the destruction of Xandar, which is only mentioned in passing, and how he came across the Power Stone. He probably killed Glenn Close or John C. Reilly, or even both. And that doubly hurts, because those actors still exist on Earth, most likely, and there's a 50% chance that he killed them also, so he's not a good bloke, he's a bad bloke. But there is a Thanos deleted scene that has been released. It starts as a flashback with him talking to a younger Gamora who returns after conquering another civilization. She seems pretty pleased with herself. She's got a dumb haircut. That's good too. But then present day Gamora is all, hey, knock it off. I'm not about that anymore. I have friends now, and you're a big old mean purple prick.
And at my side, you became the fiercest woman in the galaxy. That's why I chose you to find the Soul Stone.
I'm sorry I disappointed you.
And then this leads into the discussion about the Soul Stone and how he's disappointed that she didn't find it, and how that he's not disappointed that she didn't find it, but he is disappointed that she did. I don't really think this is a necessary addition to the story. I feel like through context and the flashback to when she was a child and other things probably, we get a pretty good understanding of their relationship. The thing though about this scene that I think doesn't work at all is that Thanos' mouth, it's not even moving for the entirety of it. What may have been the case here is that nobody noticed up until the very last minute, and then there was a bit of a panic, and it was promptly removed. I mean, it's such a massive oversight. You'd think somebody at Marvel would have caught it earlier, but I bet they're glad they did. Moving on! Wait, not really moving on. Still on the topic of Thanos and Gamora. Because the Russo brothers, who directed this film, they've talked a little bit about this scene. They've said that this conversation is a dream state created by the Soul Stone, where Thanos encounters a spiritual representation of his daughter. That seems about right, but I do wonder whether or not that means she's really trapped in there. There's also been questions regarding why it took so long for Thanos to go after the stones. But it's apparently because he was getting others to do his work. Like Gamora. And that was right up to the point where she betrays him, and then he's all like, oh no, everyone hates me because I'm a murderer. Well, I guess I'll steal the stones, and then right back to murder. Also, I might do some murder on the way, we'll see. So you all remember this bit when Nebula escapes, I assume? Well, there's going to be a moment after that where she goes off and sends the Guardians a message, letting them know of Thanos' plan and where they can find him. Cut to what's left of the Guardians, waiting on Xandar, confused about what they should do next, and listening to the song New York Groove. An argument then ensues. It's music and Gamora related. Then Peter discovers that Nebula has sent dozens of messages and is wondering why that they haven't sent anything back. And that's what sets them on the path to Titan. Crossing over with the Avengers, some of the Avengers.
Are we sure that's from Nebula?
Tell Quill not to lose my sister a second time, or I will sew his face to his genitals.
That's her. She's always wanted to sew my face to my genitals.
Speaking of Avengers, some of the Avengers, they had to retool how Peter Parker was to get on board the spaceship, so his first appearance was completely reshot. I don't know what it was initially supposed to be. Maybe you can tell me what it was. I mean, I seem to be the one doing all the work here. Why does it all fall to me? I mean, I guess I do get YouTube money, so you know what? Don't worry about it. You're fine. All right, this is the sponsored bit of the video. Get excited. We all are. Let's get into it. Mack Weldon are a quality clothing company that have sweet looking hoodies, underwear, undershirts, t-shirts, polos, socks, sweats, which are all famously antimicrobial, which basically means you can wear them all day and they smell great. You can get more use out of them. They also fit super well. They are genuinely my favorite t-shirt. I got a stack of them. So if you like clothing that is good, not terrible, it fits you, doesn't smell weird, maybe check them out by visiting mackweldon.com and use the offer code Mr. Sunday Movies, that's all one word, for 20% off your purchase. All of that is linked below. There was also a little nod to Raiders of the Lost Ark when it was decided that the Russos would cheat a little bit and have Ebony Maw sucked out of the spaceship. You see, there was going to be a drawn-out battle between him and Tony Stark, but that was all removed to keep things going. Here's another weird moment that was cut. Thanos fighting the entirety of the Avengers. Where was this even supposed to go in the film? It's got Hawkeye also, and I can't work out the specifics of it, but a lot of these characters, they look slightly different. Also, this scene is completely hand-drawn. Imagine how jarring it would have been in the cinema when suddenly you've got this shift from live action to 2D animation. And this would have been the only appearance of Hawkeye, and because it was removed, he wasn't in the movie at all. I don't know what they were thinking making any of this. There must be some kind of logical explanation. Maybe for once you could do some of the work and tell me what it is. You know something? This is interesting. Making a movie, it doesn't just happen overnight, alright? You'd be hard-pressed to finish a movie like Avengers Infinity War over the weekend even. That's why a lot of the action scenes, sometimes all of them, if you can believe that, they're mapped out down to the smallest detail. That system is called Previs, short for Preston Vizard, who invented Previs at an earlier date than now. Nobody knows for sure when because he fell into a volcano with that knowledge, which is unfortunate. God rest Preston Vizard's soul. The Doctor Strange Thanos fight though, it had so much going on, so much so that the Preston Vizard version was initially twice as long, some of the rest of which can be seen here. I'm playing it right now. Here it is. Okay, last scene. Now, I don't know why this was nearly included, but at about the midway point of the film, we were going to flash back to the end sequence from the movie Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. Now, you might be thinking, wait, isn't that movie set in the past, like in the 30s or something. And you're absolutely right. It is set in the 30s or something. But that's why it was a flashback. I guess Disney struck some sort of deal with Warner Brothers to include this particular moment from their 2016 fantasy adventure film set in the Harry Potter universe. Personally, I think they should have left it in. But you know, what do I know? I'm not a filmmaker. I'm just a guy whose job it is for some reason to do this. And some people say that I don't take it seriously enough. But I say, you don't take it seriously enough. What do you think of that, mate? But if you think you'd like to see more things from a guy whose job it is to do whatever this is, well, you bloody well can. Subscribe and bell icon for more videos here every Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday, which include the likes of recent videos, such as a Venom trailer breakdown, or a list of times that Tom Cruise tried to kill himself on film. Or maybe even something on all the monsters in the King Kong Godzilla universe. Also, I have a podcast called The Weekly Planet where we talk movies and comics and TV shows. That is out every Monday without fail. It's like clockwork. It could be a bit of a fun time. Sometimes it isn't, but you know, you roll the dice. Anyways, all of that is linked below, all the things I mentioned just then. But thanks for watching this video. I appreciate it. Take care.